How's it going, everybody? And welcome to Season 4, Episode 6 of the Brock at the Buzzer podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Brock Kowalski. And on today's show, we are going to discuss the Buffalo Sabres hot streak, the Thunder getting hot, and the Buffalo Bills offseason so far. But before we get there, if you want to find me on all my social media platforms, there will be a Linktree link in the bottom of in the description, of this video. So please follow me on all my social medias in a Linktree link. I apologize, I can't talk this afternoon. Down below. Now on to the jam-packed show I've got for you. The Buffalo Sabres are red hot since the Olympic break. Since the Olympic break, the Buffalo Sabres have been red hot, winning 8 straight games against teams such as the Florida Panthers, the Tampa Bay Lightning twice, and the Vegas Golden Knights. Meanwhile, during the streak, the Buffalo Sabres have overtaken the Tampa Bay Lightning, vaulting their way into first place in the Atlantic Division. A 4-point lead now, as of this recording, I might add. What has the Sabres clicking? Here is my opinions. A lot of you probably have different opinions, but here are the reasons why I believe the Buffalo Sabres are clicking on all cylinders. The superstars on this hockey team are being superstars. Who are the Buffalo Sabres superstars, you may ask? First and foremost, the gold medalist forward Tage Thompson. During this 8-game winning streak, Thompson has an impressive 4 goals, 7 assists for 11 total points. Forward Alex Tuch, during this point streak, has 6 goals and 3 assists for 9 points. And Rasmus Dahlin, who has been on an absolute tear himself, he has 2 goals, 10 assists for 12 points. Enough said there. Another reason I believe the Buffalo Sabres are rolling is their scoring depth they are getting from all around this roster, including the red-hot Jason Zucker. Beck Malenstein has scored a couple goals during this streak. He plays on the 4th line, people. Ryan McLeod, of course, coming up with the penalty kill goal like he always does, playing very solid hockey. Noah Ostlund continues his impressive rookie season, and Jack Quinn. That entire line of Zucker, McLeod, and Quinn have been rolling as of late, which is why they've vaulted up to the second line following Alex Tuch, Tage Thompson, and Peyton Krebs. And even this happened on Tuesday. Jack Quinn notched his first career NHL hat trick in a 6-3 win over the San Jose Sharks. Lately, and especially since the trade deadline, the Buffalo Sabres have been playing a physical brand of hockey, led by, of course, their captain Rasmus Dahlin, who took a chop from Malkin last week that could have taken him out of action for quite a while if that connected. It really didn't. It grazed him, so thank God for that. But Malkin did receive a 5-game suspension for the unnecessary slash of the Buffalo Sabres captain. But overall, Dahlin has been playing very physically, along with his defensive partner, Matthias Samuelsson, something he's done all season. On the forward side of things, Peyton Krebs is being Peyton Krebs, people. He may not be, putting up the point totals as his line mates are in Tage Thompson and Alex Tuch, but he is doing all the dirty work to make those opportunities possible for the two best forwards. And let's include the newcomers, Sam Carrick, who will, I believe, be a fixture on that four line alongside Beck Malenstein, and obviously the rotating winger between, I believe, a couple of different bodies that you'll see down the stretch here. And Logan Stanley, who just made his debut the other night on Tuesday, got into a fight almost immediately, showing his teammates that he's more than willing to get his hands dirty and stand up for his new teammates, and that's great to see. And I'll point this out to you guys as well, is this type of physicality has lacked for the last 14 or so years. The equivalent of the Buffalo Sabres playoff drought, a drought they are poised to break in 2026. If the Sabres keep playing like this, they continue to prove they are the best team in the Eastern Conference. Yes, I said it. Better than the Carolina Hurricanes. Better than the Tampa Bay Lightning. In fact, the only team ahead of the Buffalo Sabres in points is, in fact, the Carolina Hurricanes, who sit just 2 points ahead of Buffalo for the overall lead in the Eastern Conference. And if they continue to play like this, they are continuing to prove to the entire NHL that this is no fluke. This is a true Stanley Cup contender. Their next game is tonight from KeyBank Center as the Buffalo Sabres continue this long, lengthy homestand that has 2 games left here tonight against the Washington Capitals, and on Saturday against the division rival Toronto Maple Leafs. You can catch all the action tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern, only on MSG, and on the radio side of things, of course, WGR 550 here in Buffalo. Now on to the Oklahoma City Thunder. Since the Thunder's slump, now on to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and the Thunder are also getting very, very hot. Coincidence. Since the Thunder's slump that included a 5-4 stretch without their superstar MVP, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, the Thunder have won 6 straight games, maintaining a slim 2.5 game lead over the San Antonio Spurs, who also remain red hot as well. I believe they won, I think it's 7 in a row since losing at the Garden to the New York Knicks about a week and a half ago, and they got absolutely annihilated by Jalen Brunson and the New York Knicks. But during the 6-game winning streak, the Thunder have beaten the division rival Denver Nuggets twice in 2 instant classics at Paycom Center, the New York Knicks at MSG, the Bulls, the Mavericks, and the Warriors, despite Jalen Williams, J-Dub that is, remaining out due to a hamstring injury. Chet Holmgren, A.J. Mitchell, Isaiah Hartenstein, and Alex Caruso also have missed multiple games during this stretch. Mitchell returned Monday and was spectacular off the bench, like he has been all season, having 24 points, 3 assists in 29 minutes 24 points and 3 assists in the game, or in the victory over the Denver Nuggets here on Monday night in Oklahoma City. Why are the Thunder catching fire? First, let's start off with the most obvious. Shai being Shai. Over the streak, the reigning MVP is averaging 29.8 points, 8 assists, and 4.8 rebounds per game. Just Shai being Shai, since he has returned from an injury list stint that saw him miss multiple games due to an abdominal strain. The second player that I want to shout out is Jalen Williams, the big Jalen Williams, has been phenomenal during this streak. Jalen Williams has been phenomenal, averaging 10.8 points and 6.3 rebounds in multiple starts over that time, including a masterful 29 and 12 rebound, or 29 point and 12 rebound effort, again, over the Denver Nuggets on Monday night. During the stretch, another key for OKC is the defense is back to quote-unquote normal, as they have allowed 106.5 points per game, including those two games against the Denver Nuggets, where the Thunder allowed 129 and 127, respectively. But remember this, not everybody has Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, who was masterful Monday night for Denver. Not everybody has Jamal Murray, who has been masterful as well in the two losses to the Oklahoma City Thunder as of recently. But if you're taking those two games out, the Thunder's points per game allowed average sits at an even 98 points, which for the Thunder is very normal and had been, when Shea had been out, a little higher than that number. I don't know the exact number off the top of my head during the previous 9 games, but you get my point. When Shea's in the lineup, not only does he help the Thunder offensively, but also defensively, which he has proved, especially over the last year and a half for the Oklahoma City Thunder. The main goal for OKC as the march to the playoffs continues is to get healthy. It's that simple, because it feels like this team has not been healthy all season long. And also, obviously, keep winning, keep maintaining that slim lead over the San Antonio Spurs, who have been playing outstanding basketball, along with Oklahoma City, being, of course, led by true MVP candidate Victor Wembanyama. Their next game is tonight as well, after the Buffalo Sabres take on the Washington Capitals at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Prime. And by the way, Chet Holmgren and Alex Caruso are expected to make their returns to the lineup here for Oklahoma City against Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, and the Boston Celtics. You can catch that again at 9:30 p.m. Eastern, only on Amazon Prime. And finally, let's talk about the Buffalo Bills, who, up until recently, have been very, very quiet so far, especially after acquiring wide receiver DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears about this time last week. But things have picked up, as I said, over the last couple of days, especially over the last maybe, I would say, 72 hours for the Buffalo Bills. So let's break it all down, and let's start with the trades. The Bills acquire wide receiver DJ Moore and a 5th-round pick in exchange for a 2026 second-round pick. Thoughts? Here are my thoughts regarding this deal. The Bills needed a number 1 wide receiver. Yes, I know, Bills Mafia, it is not who we've all been praying for, Justin Jefferson. It is not A.J. Brown, who I do not want to see on a Buffalo Bills, or in a Buffalo Bills uniform anyway, because he's a head case like Stephon Diggs, if you haven't heard. But the fit of DJ Moore and the Buffalo Bills makes perfect sense. Why? Let me think for 2 seconds. It involves new head coach Joe Brady, where in fact Brady coached Moore in Carolina, where Moore had his best season to date. Does that not make sense? And also, I think this move kind of seals the Bills' fate at wide receiver. I don't think the Bills draft a number or a wide receiver. I'm not saying that they're not going to draft one in this draft. That's kind of ludicrous to think that. But I don't think they spend a first-round pick on a wide receiver because they essentially got their number one wide receiver. They've got their number two in Khalil Shakir. They've got even maybe their number three now as well in Josh Palmer. So you really don't need a wide receiver at the top of your depth chart, much like the Bills needed a wide receiver and thought Keon Coleman was going to be that guy, but he is not. That draft pick is looking more and more like an F for Brandon Beane, as Keon Coleman, as it sits right now, in my opinion, is the number 4 wide receiver on this Buffalo Bills depth chart. And considering what you did prior to that, trading with Kansas City, again, for some odd reason, moving out of the first round to select your guy because he was there, Keon Coleman, and you thought you had a first-round grade on him, not looking too good when it comes to that. So I don't believe the Buffalo Bills should and will spend a number 1 or a first-round draft pick on a wide receiver because there's a lot more positions of need for this team, which we'll discuss here in a little bit. But with that said, even with Morris cap hit, if you look at that too, that is about average money for essentially a number 1 wide receiver. Yes, obviously the second round pick is a bit of a swing, but considering the need is there, considering you were able to negotiate a restructure immediately upon acquiring more to free up cap space to help the team make a couple big additions on defense, you've got to give this move an A for Brandon Beane because the Bills needed it. It wasn't who we thought, who we wanted, but it will definitely do, and it really does, I feel, make a lot of sense here as we move forward in the 2026 NFL season. Again, this move by Brandon Beane, I graded a solid A. The second trade the Buffalo Bills have made is cornerback Teron Johnson moves with the 2026 6th round pick to Las Vegas for a 2026 7th round pick. And my thoughts are this: the Raiders bought very low on a very good football player. It's that simple. Who I think Jim Leonard really didn't see fitting in his defense, while unfortunately for the Buffalo Bills, they retain a $9.5 million cap hit. And for that reason, this trade gets a D from me. And that's enough on that, because it's pretty self-explanatory. And now let's go to the free agent signings. I feel like this is one of the most important, so let's lead it off with this one. The Buffalo Bills re-signed center Connor McGovern to a 4-year, $52 million deal. Phenomenal work by McGovern, his representation, and Brandon Beane to get this deal done. Being the second best center in this class behind Tyler Linderbaum, pardon me if I said that wrong, as he went to Las Vegas for a lot more money. And I really do believe people within NFL circles who needed centers, and there's a lot of teams that still need centers, thought that Connor McGovern was the second best center in this class. And the Buffalo Bills were able to get McGovern on a quote-unquote hometown discount, just showing you how committed he is to the city and the franchise, while locking him up alongside Spencer Brown and Deion Dawkins for the foreseeable future, and with Osiris Torrance being next in line to be paid, which he should be paid, if not this offseason, but definitely next offseason, to keep one of the best offensive lines together in the NFL for as long as you possibly can. I think this is a home run move by the Buffalo Bills. My grade for this move is a solid A+ for McGovern coming home or staying home in Buffalo with the Bills. Bills, in a shocking move when I first read it, re-signed Dawson Knox to a 3-year extension, which is worth less per year than his previous cap hit, which is $17 million. And that was a huge question leading into the offseason. And my thoughts are this. The terms of the deal have not yet been made public. I don't expect them to be, because it is a restructured deal. The Bills and Knox wanted to stay together, but the elephant in the room, as I just said, was the $17 million cap hit that he was owed for the next several seasons, which did not make any sense for the Buffalo Bills. So because Knox wanted to stay in Buffalo, he decided to decrease the cap hit to keep one of the most, in my opinion, dynamic tight end rooms in the NFL together when healthy for till at least the end of the 2028 season. And I think that move, just as a whole, is an A move. It's better than releasing him. It's better than taking on, more unnecessary dead cap, which is for the Bills over $40 million, which is insane, but it's the truth. It's the cost of winning sometimes, and I hate it, but it's the reality, if I can talk, that the Bills now are faced with. And now on to the new peoples that have signed with the Buffalo Bills, because there's multiple people that have signed with the Buffalo Bills that are quote-unquote new to this organization and the city. Let's start off with the first one that went down, was cornerback D. Alford. Signed a 3-year, $21 million deal with the Buffalo Bills, formerly of the Atlanta Falcons. Alford replaces Taron Johnson as the quote-unquote nickel corner for Buffalo, but he can play multiple cornerback positions, which there are multiple cornerback positions, nickel, and obviously the two outside corners. And this is coming from Eric Turner of Cover One. He has, within NFL circles, he is known to have a very high IQ and is a high-level communicator on third and fourth down. But the only question is this, is where does a nickel fit in Jim Leonard's defense, considering you let Taron Johnson go, who, yes, was making roughly about $2.5 million more than D. Alford is on this current deal. So with that said, with the one burning question, I have to decrease the grade a little bit because there are questions there, but I give it a solid B+. The Buffalo Bills yesterday added Bradley Chubb on a 3-year, $43.5 million deal, formerly of the Miami Dolphins. Chubb will join Greg Rousseau on the right side of the defensive line because Rousseau prefers to play the left side and Chubb prefers to play the right side. Makes sense. So those are essentially your starting edge rushers here as we move forward. Chubb is known for his, quote, motor and never quit attitude, and is a power rusher. That is also from Eric Turner of Cover One, who had the news before anyone else. A local journalist had the news before Adam Schefter, Ian Rappaport. So Eric Turner, if you're if you're listening, props to you. Congratulations. That's incredible. But more on Bradley Chubb. My thoughts are this. I know it's not Trey Hendrickson who went to Baltimore yesterday for far more money, or Max Crosby, who the Bills probably did in fact take a swing at, but were unwilling to give what Baltimore gave and then pulled out of the deal, and that's a different story for another day. But for what I'm calling a plan C, making almost virtually the same amount of money as Joey Bosa did last year on a one-year deal, about $11 million, which is what Bosa made last year. Excuse me. And also, Chubb gets an extra year, which I believe is good because you can, get that chemistry ramped up, especially with Rousseau and Chubb in year 2 of this deal. But if it doesn't work out, the Buffalo Bills essentially have an opt-out in year 3. So what that means is Chubb's money is all front-loaded, pretty much. All the guaranteed money is front-loaded on Chubb's deal from what I've been hearing and seeing via multiple reports, which helps the Bills long-term. If it doesn't work, they're able to get out of the deal after year 2. But if it works, obviously, with contracts being up after the 2028 season, that could potentially free up some much needed cap space as well. So with all that said, I think it's a very solid, again. Yes, there's questions there with injuries and exactly how it's going to go for Bradley here in Buffalo, but I give it a solid B+ so far. And the Buffalo Bills have lost the following players as well. David Edwards, as he signed a deal with New Orleans. Beloved fullback Reggie Gilliam signed a deal with New England, unfortunately. Backup quarterback Mitchell Trubisky reunites with his former offensive coordinator here in Buffalo, Brian Daboll in Tennessee, and cornerback Cam Lewis, a very versatile corner, went to the Chicago Bears. Other signings that have been made by the Buffalo Bills, they reunite with Kyle Allen as the backup quarterback. Tyler Bass also restructured his deal, but his deal is essentially a restructured one-year deal, and punter Mitch Wisniewski as well returns to punt for the Buffalo Bills going into the 2026 season. And that'll be all on this episode of the Brock and the Buzzard podcast. I hope you all enjoyed the show. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe, and go on that Linktree link and follow me on all my social media platforms that are listed on that link. Until next time, have a great one, everyone.